Hi, my name is Pirjo. I'm a knitter, mum and a shopkeeper in Lincoln in the UK, and I love watching YouTube knitting podcasts. And I thought I might do a little one of my own. It's great to see what people are knitting, how they're knitting, what yarns they're choosing, what they're wearing, and I just love all that. We have a knitting community in Lincoln, but I don't know many people who knit similar things to me. There's lots of different knitters knitting lots of different things, which is lovely. But a friend of mine, we knit very similar things, and are always chatting on WhatsApp what we're knitting, what yarns we're choosing, and sometimes we even knit the same things, which is brilliant. I've been knitting since I was maybe about 8. My mum and grandma taught me in Finland, where I grew up. So I'm a continental knitter, or I think I might be a Nordic knitter. I think it's slightly different, especially my pearls are different to continental knitters, or I might be called a picker. I have tried the British knitting, but it just wouldn't stick in my head. So I always just convert it straight back to Nordic knitting. I knitted from young age, from scarves and simple squares to little jumpers. I was knitting till about my late teens, I think, early 20s, and then I completely stopped. I don't know, why would you stop? Why wouldn't you carry on knitting? I have no idea. But anyway, I stopped. I think the last things I remember knitting was when I was about 19, and I was working 1920, and I was working as an au pair in London, and I remember knitting little acrylic Teletubby jumpers for a charity sale, school sale that the family's children's school was having, or something like that. I can't remember knitting much after that. And then my biggest regret is that I didn't knit when my daughter was born 8 years ago, but she was always wearing hat and knit. I was sewing a lot at the time, so she was wearing handmade dresses from the day one she was born, and hats and mittens and booties and cardigans, but not knitted by me. I only really started knitting again, I think it was around 2017, when a yarn shop opened a couple of doors away from my shop, and I just became addicted straight away. At the same time, around the same time, a friend of mine moved to Ireland, and she destashed and she donated me a huge amount of yarn. Just a shop full of yarn, and I just got a real passion for colour work. It was so inspiring. I knitted, I've probably got one here somewhere. Let me just have a look. Just having a look if I've got one that I knitted with her yarn. I don't think I've got one that I knitted with her yarn, but I started knitting a lot of colour work. And I think I started with cushions. I started with cushion covers, if I remember right, or little bags that I knitted in the round. This is one of them. This is, I don't think this is knitted in the yarn that she gave me, but I just found it so inspiring to have this huge stash that I could just pick colours, throw them together. As you can see, I'm not really into mending. There's a big hole in the corner there. But these have been used and loved a lot, and I knitted there. Then I knitted cardigans, jumpers, and I knitted all of her stash. It was a huge inspiration. And then gradually, with the yarn shop being so close to me, I just fell in love with natural yarns, which have always been close to my heart. Being from Finland, we have a huge commercial yarn brand called Navita, and I was brought up with Navita Seven Brothers yarn that average weight 75%, 25%, 75% wool, 25% polyamide nylon. Mix is very, very tough, hard wearing yarn. You can wash it in the washing machine, just wash and wear. It's the Aran weight sock yarn really, so very hard wearing yarn. And I fell in love with hand dyed yarns and woolly wools really when Sarah opened the yarn shop, and that's when I started knitting. My friend moved to Ireland about the same time Sarah opened the yarn shop, and I just absolutely fell in love with knitting. I took a couple of workshops. I remember doing a sock knitting workshop, fell in love with knitting socks, and then not a day has gone by since that I haven't done any knitting. I knit all the time. If I'm sitting, I'm knitting. I have a little shop in Lincoln, a handmade craft shop and a second-hand shop, and in between customers I've always got my knitting. It's a lovely icebreaker. I knit differently to most people around me because I am a Nordic knitter, so it's always a nice conversation starter with customers who knit or with customers who don't knit, and probably haven't seen anyone knitting for years, and I don't use long needles. I tend to knit in the round with circular needles, so it's a little bit different, and it's a lovely conversation starter. Running a handmade gift shop, I love it that customers can see things being made, and that what we sell are actually being handmade in Lincoln and Lincolnshire. So I've got a huge passion for anything handmade and pre-loved, and I think they just go beautifully together. But selfishly, I wanted to talk about my knitting today, because I just love it so much, and I've given you the best seat in the house. That's where I normally sit when I knit, and this is where my phone normally is when I'm watching podcasts and knitting. And I thought I would start with what I've finished most recently. This is a Sian sweater. It's a I think it's called a slip stitch pattern. It's colour work, but you only ever knit with one colour at any one time. Me and my friend went to Yarndale in end of September, and we went both days. So on Saturday, we both saw this sweater on a stand next to the yarn that it was knitted with as a sample, and we both thought, oh my goodness, that's something different. We both love colour work, we both love texture, and this was just something a little bit different to what we've seen recently. It's not stranded colour work, and also it's got the fabric looks very mild. I haven't knitted it in the recommended yarn. I can't remember if I bought the yarn on the Saturday or Sunday, but anyway, we went back on the Sunday, back to the same stand, and we couldn't see this sweater anywhere. We sort of panicked thinking, where is it? Was it really this stand? We really wanted to ask more questions about it. What's the pattern? What weight yarn it was knitted with? And it was so funny. We went to ask the ladies on the stand and said, we saw this beautiful colour work sweater yesterday, but we can't see it anywhere. And both ladies opened their coats and they were both wearing this exact sweater, and it was so funny. It was just brilliant. It was much cooler day on the Sunday, so they were both wearing the samples to keep warm, and we just fell in love. And I thought at some point I will wear this sweater. And I have bought some yarn. I really love knitting with mohair at the moment. Knitting with 4-ply and mohair held together. Because it creates a warm fabric, but it's airy and light, and I think it's just perfect for British winters. In Finland you will probably wear something a little bit more substantial, but I think this is perfect for here. And I have bought this black yarn from the Wool Mouse. It's Juniper Moon Farm 4-ply alpaca and merino mix, if I remember right. I've got it all on my Ravelry. I will link my Ravelry page to this video, so you'll see all the weights and what I've used. I have bought this because this was such a bargain at Yarndale. It was 3 skeins, 300 gram skeins for £21. So I just couldn't resist it. But I felt that this was maybe a bit too dark for me. In October I was lucky to visit the couple of yarn shops in London whilst meeting up with some friends, and I went to Beautiful Knitters, and the lady there was knitting the Ingrid sweater holding a cream 4-ply with lilac mohair, and that just created a stunning fabric. And whilst that sort of gave me a seed and inspiration, and when I came back home, I ordered this, I think it's dark steel, grey steel colour mohair to go with the black, and these 2 yarns created this beautiful mauve fabric, and I just love it. And also at Yarndale I have bought this was a cone. It was about ½ kilo cone of pink 4-ply, and this didn't have any labels on it, but the lady said there was a problem with the dye lot, and they were selling it cheap. It was about ½ kilo cone of marine, I think it was 85% merino, 15% silk, so a lovely drapey yarn. And then I bought this perfect match from Wool Warehouse. It's drop skid silk mohair, and they just look perfect together, and I put these together for the stranded colour work. I finished this maybe last week, so I didn't start it straight after Yarndale. I knitted a few other things. I've constantly got something on the needles, but I only ever have one thing on the needles at any one time. It stresses me out to have any more than that. Yeah, so this is finished. I haven't blocked it yet. I often don't block things straight away. I like to wear the garment, see how it feels, see if I need to make any alterations. Because blocking, I could make it a little bit longer or wider, see if the neckline needs adjusting, whether it needs elastic sewing on. So I haven't washed this yet, but I think it works out perfectly. It is on my Ravelry page, but if I remember right, I just knitted it an inch longer than the pattern asked for. Yeah, love it. It's going to be a nice jumper for the winter. This is quite tight fitting. This is how I like my jumpers. I like them quite short, quite snug, and when I wear a snug jumper like this, I like to wear some high-waisted jeans, more thick jeans. And if I wear a big sweater like the Ingrid sweater, I will probably pop on some skinny tights. I did make a lot of skirts this autumn, and I wore them to Yarndale, but I haven't worn them since. I go through phases where I wear skirts and dresses with jumpers. At the moment it's definitely jeans time. When I finished this, I was craving colour work. There's this sweater, the green sweater on the Sadness Gone magazine. I've wanted to knit this sweater for years. I did knit it for my ex-boyfriend a long time ago, over 20 years ago, or might be over 25 years ago. It might be close to 30 years ago. I was only a teenager then, really, and I think that was the boyfriend sweater curse. You're not supposed to knit a boyfriend a sweater before you're married, otherwise the relationship will go on the rocks, and it did. But anyway, I've always wanted to knit this sweater for myself, and I had found the pattern on Ravelry, but it was only in Swedish or Norwegian. And a long time ago, my Swedish was better than my English, but it isn't anymore. But then I spotted this magazine and managed to get hold of it from knit.com. KNITT.com, British website selling lots of Scandi yarns, Scandi magazines. But to get this magazine, you had to order 6 balls of yarn, or you had to order yarn to be able to get hold of this magazine. So this is why I ordered the tin silk mohair to go with the black, and then my plan was to knit the dots in, which I did. No, I think I actually did. What did I do with the background colour? I think I actually knitted in this navy. No, background was in these colours. Oh yeah, I've got them. This is what I'm knitting at the minute. So anyway, I started this sweater, raglan sweater, top down, bottom up, raglan sweater, bottom up, which is not my preferred way. I like to knit top down. But anyway, I started knitting this sweater, bottom up, with these yarns. I've nearly run out of the main colour, so yeah, with these. Background in cream, and then the dots in blue. And I just wasn't sure about it from the start. These are gorgeous yarns. This is a high alpaca merino. I think it's 65 alpaca. So it's very fluid and drapey fabric. And I just didn't feel it. I think this colourwork sweater, I think it needs to be quite toothy yarn, more like a sock yarn, and I don't think mohair was the right thing to do. I think it's a sport to DK weight, so I was holding it together with mohair to get gauge, which I got. I got gauge absolutely spot on. I knitted it all the way to the armpits, so bottom up all the way to the armpits, and then I just wanted to get to the yoke. So I did Judy's Magic cast on for the sleeves, and my plan was then after the yoke I would knit the sleeves down, and then I knitted the yoke up, didn't read the instructions properly. I was decreasing once in every pattern repeat, and you were supposed to be decreasing on every other row. So the yoke was very, very tall. My armpits were hanging here, and I thought, okay, it's okay, I don't hate it. And then I knitted the neckband, and I didn't read the instructions properly again. It said knit 1 by 1 ribbing for 5 centimeters. I think it says something like that. And I stopped reading the instructions there, and it said whilst decreasing so many stitches. It was about halving the stitches on the first round, which I didn't do. And then after a couple of rounds I thought, this is huge, this neckline's too big, and I reread the instructions, and then I tried to decrease the stitches within the ribbing, but it was very obvious. And then I thought, okay, I'll leave the neckline for a bit. I'll just think about that. And I started knitting one of the sleeves down. But when you do this magic cast on, the stitches don't go in both directions completely in line. The stitch is coming down where half a stitch out of sync. And because this was colour work, I could just see a little jog there. It was very little, but it was visible. And that's when I decided it was time to rock the jumper. I have been knitting on it for 10 days and I just frocked it really quickly, pulled it all back, caked it all back into yarn cakes, and just thought, that's it, I've learned, even if you get the right gauge, the yarn wasn't right for that project. But I love the yarn, and I just wanted to knit something else with it. And this year, I see fisherman's rib seems to be everywhere, and I absolutely love that texture. I knitted a cardigan earlier this summer, yes, this summer, June, July time, and it was in broken rib, and I love knitting that. It's not as thick as fisherman's rib, it's very easy. And then I found sweater number 12 by Your Favourite Things Knitwear, I believe. I've got it all on my Ravelry, and immediately started knitting this. I think I started this on Thursday night, maybe Friday morning, and it's Monday now, so I've been knitting on it. It's top down, which is my preferred method. It's in the same gorgeous yarns that I was knitting the Norwegian. Just checking that was Norwegian, not Swedish. The Norwegian sweater, and this yarn is working so brilliantly. I'm loving it. It's top down, and it's got a big wide raglans. The broken rib is on the raglans. It's all the way neckline. I've cast off in I've done a tubular cast off there, tubular cast on, and now I'm knitting on the sleeve. I've just started the first sleeve. You knit quite far before you start decreasing, so it feels lovely and drapey. It's got high alpaca content. I think this will be so nice to wear. I'm knitting on quite a short circular at the moment, but I'm just about to change it to maybe about 60 centimetre cable and do magic loop. I can just about get around with these, but it's hurting my back. I don't know why. I think just the tension holding the needle so tightly. So I'm gonna swap the magic loop, knit that sleeve and knit the other one. If it was just a single colour sleeve, I would knit them both at the same time on the magic loop. But I find when I've got 4 balls of yarn attached to this now, if I was knitting the other side at the same time, it gets so tangled up, it's not worth it. So I'm knitting them separately. Yeah, I'm looking forward to wearing this. It's nice, it's got a lovely halo. I think the colours are creating beautiful fabric. This is also juniper moon, alpaca merino mix, and drops kid silk mohair. And then I've got, this was another bargain from Yarndale. All the yarn that you see here is yarn that I bought at Yarndale end of September, or what I bought after then. This is Knit Global 4-ply sock yarn, 75/25, and it was 500 gram skeins for £10. I couldn't believe it, and it's lovely. It was from the same stall where they were selling the cones for £10. I can't, for the life of me, I can't work out which company was selling these. I've tried to look at the map from Yarndale. I can't work it out. I paid with cash, so there's no name of the company on my on my bank account, so can't work it out where they were from, but so pleased with both of them. I've also knitted this, knitted into this, and yeah, I bought the black Juniper Moon. This is from the Wool Mouse, but it's all from Yarndale. So really enjoying this knit. Yeah, if you're in love with the all the fisherman's rib on the high street at the moment, I would recommend Broken Rib. It's not as thick, it doesn't take as long to knit. You just one round you knit all the way around, and then following round you do knit one, purl one. So if you're knitting in the flat, you could do knit one, purl one on the reverse, and just knit all the right hand side. Yeah, loving it. I'll be wearing that very soon. These sleeves should fly by. So that's what I've been knitting recently. Finished this jumper, had a couple of false starts, and now I'm knitting away again. Just before I went to Yarndale, I knitted up all my stash, so that when I came back I had completely clean slate, and I did buy quite a lot of yarn at Yarndale. You see most of them here. I've still got Sweater's quantity of this pink silk and merino mix, and then I bought some kid silk mohair to go with it, and I also have Sweater's quantity of this super cheap merino. I've got I did have 500 grams, but I'm knitting it into this sweater number 12 at the moment. I don't know if I mentioned, yeah, this is sweater number 12. So I will still have enough to knit a jumper with the navy. And rest of the yarns, if these are in shot, are leftover yarns what I've knitted with since Yarndale. And I've also bought some merino and mohair to knit socks with. I saw a lovely pattern called Indulgence Socks on Ravelry. It's a free pattern, and you knit fluffy house socks to keep warm in the winter with one strand of 4-ply and one strand of mohair, and you just need 50 grams of 4-ply and 25 grams of mohair to make a pair of socks. I've already made one pair of socks, which I haven't got with me at the moment, but I bought these to knit those socks with. I bought the 4-ply because I bought some Chowgu needles from Pearlison's website, and to get the free delivery you have to spend so much, so I ordered some yarn as well to get the free delivery. When we went to Yarndale, I was desperate to buy the new swivel cords that Chowgu has brought out, and I've been so disappointed. They really catch. I think with the Chowgu cords, I use the red cords. They're so smooth and they don't kink. You don't need the swivel cords, and I won't be knitting with those. I think they'll be okay if you're knitting with Aran weight yarn, but I've been knitting with mohair and 4-ply a lot, and it's catching really badly, so I won't be using those. But I've got the yarns, I've got the cords. If I'm knitting with Aran weight yarn, they'll be fine, but anything tiny, it's really catching. So I bought those yarns, and also I bought this cone because I've knitted, there's a lady called Jackie in my shop who's got a mini yarn store within my shop, which is amazing. She stocks King Cole anti-tickle merino blend in DK weight, and I've knitted a cable cardigan for my daughter with it, and I've knitted the Ingrid sweater in this colour for myself with it, and it's just lovely yarn. It wears and washes so well. It didn't grow at all in the wash, just popped it in the machine. It washes so well. So I wanted to get a same yarn in 4-ply. Unfortunately, Jackie's Supply doesn't stock the 4-ply, but I got this from Wool Warehouse. It's a 500 gram cone, and it was about just over £20. I think I had to order something else with it to get the free delivery for £25. So lots of yarn. I'm looking forward to knitting with this. I have ordered Kid Silk Mohair in the almond colourway to go with this. So I've got, when it comes, I will have 3 yarns to choose from what to knit with, my next jumper with. And I am craving for cables at the moment, so I think it might be a cable sweater that will head onto my needles next. I've been looking at I love Ravelry. I use Ravelry a lot. I've got all my stash there. I've got all my projects there, and I love it. I put a couple of, I don't know if you'll be able to see the screen, but I've got a couple of, oh, it's locked me out now. I've got quite a few sweaters in my queue. Let me see if I can get signed in really quickly, and I can show you. I've been obsessing about the Billy Pullover by Sari Nordlund for a while, but it might just be a little bit too much for me. There's a lot of counting, and I don't know if that's just too much for my brain at the moment, but it is a beautiful sweater. But she's got some lovely designs, and I've found another design of hers that I think might be the next one. I just don't know which colour to knit it with, in. The oatmeal, the navy, or the pale pink. This is sort of vintage pink colour, but it's a lovely cable sweater with high polo neck, which I love. That'll be so nice when I'm in the shop. My back is to a huge window, which you can feel the coldness from the window, and having something on your neck, that would be perfect whilst working in the shop. The only thing is that this is knitted flat. I have knitted flat this summer. I've knitted a couple of cardigans in the flat, but I do prefer knitting in the round. So that's a definite maybe what might be heading onto my needles next. But there's, yeah, I'm quite tickled with that one. The Billy Pullover is stunning, but as you can see, there is quite a few different cables happening at the same time, so there will be a lot of count in there, so I don't know if I can take that on at the minute. But that's my plans for the future, and I'm hoping to do another little clip to show you how I've got on, and hopefully next time I'll be wearing this, showing you what I'm knitting at the time, and then talking to you about my next plan. But I'm always intrigued how knitters look after their knits. I wear my knits a lot, and I wash them a lot, especially in the warmer months when you don't need to wear a long sleeve t-shirt underneath. So I feel like the armpits need a wash. So I wash my knits in the washing machine. I feel like life's too short for hand washing. Life's not too short for knitting, but it is for hand washing for me. So I want to show you how I wash my hand knits. I've just washed the Eclair Slipover that I was hoping to knit for myself, but I didn't have enough yarn, so I knitted it for my daughter. I popped it in one of these zip bags. I've tried to use the Wool Warehouse organza bags before to wash my knitting in, but last time I did it, the ribbon got undone and the jumper came out of the bag, and it felted. And it felted really unevenly. It got completely ruined. I probably shouldn't have put that yarn in the washing machine, but I did, and it got ruined. So I got these wash bags that have got a zip, and you can really get the zip in there so it won't open in the wash. I've just taken this out the washing machine. I haven't opened this, and you're not supposed to hand wash this yarn, so let's see what's happened. Hopefully it will come out okay. I just turned it inside out, popped it in this bag so that it wouldn't get stretched out of shape. This is knitted with DK British yarn from Yarndale. It looks okay. The mohair has attached itself in places, but I think this will dry beautifully. I've knitted a jumper for myself with the same yarn and washed it the same way, and it just needed a little bit of pulling because the mohair had sort of acted like Velcro in places, and it has done exactly the same on this one, but the yarn has washed beautifully. It is on my Ravelry page. This is the Eclair Slipover that my daughter has worn so much since I finished it. It's super warm, but not too warm because it's got these lovely slits on the side, so I'm hoping it will fit her a long time. It just needs a little bit of straightening and it will dry beautifully flat. The back is longer than the front, and I felt that the back should be a little bit longer, but this is all the yarn I have left. I don't think I could have done another row, so this is the length of it. And yeah, I'm quite pleased how it's washed. I will prop it on my Pringle. I got this from Amazon during lockdown. I think during the first lockdown. I've had it for a while. So this is how I dry my knits. I pop it on the Pringle. You can pin it down if you need to stretch it out a bit, but it gives it nice airy dry. So I don't like to dry on towels or anything like that. And I've broken the hook, but I'll just hook it up from my skylights in the bedroom, and it will dry there in half a day, especially if it's a sunny day, and it gets a little bit of air, dries really quickly. Yeah, so she can pop it back on again. She has worn it so much since I finished it. But I've enjoyed showing you my knits and letting you sit on my seat. But I think we'll do a swap around. I might do a couple of rows of knitting and watch a few knitting podcasts before I crack on with what I actually should be doing. Thanks for watching. Bye.